Hi everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. Today I just wanted to do a brief instructional video on some of the most common lower body exercises that we do at the gym or at home or whatever workout we're doing. And that's going to be squats, lunges, and just the basic step up. Another reason why I want to do this instructional video is because these are movements that I'm going to be incorporating into a lot of my full body workouts that I'm going to be doing in the future, particularly the one that I'm going to be doing coming up this week. And so I want to start separating the instructional portion of the video from the actual workout, because my last full body workouts with the instructional portion in the beginning, I'm realizing it's just too long, and so I just want to separate it. So that way you guys can just go to the instructional videos and learn how to do the exercises from there, and then when it's time to do the full body workout, you've had time to practice on your own at your own leisure, and that way when I do the full body workout, we can just get right into it. And so the first one I'm going to focus on is just a basic squat. And as basic as this movement is, you'd be surprised how many people do it improperly. I know I did this in a past video, but I wanted to put it as part of this video too. So any of you that have watched any of my videos in the past, you know that the first thing we're going to do is get into our neutral. Shoulders going to be back and down. Our belly button's going to be pulled in nice and tight. That's going to activate our transverse abdominis to anchor our back and give our body the support that it needs and help make it easier for us to maintain our neutral spine as well. So a basic squat form, you're always going to lead with your glutes as you go into the movement. You never want to lead with your knees. So as you go into your squat and you bring your hips back, you're going to have to lean forward just slightly to help counterbalance you while you're performing the movement. Also, when you come up from the movement, you want to focus on putting pressure on the heel of the foot. That's going to help transfer the stress to the hamstring and the glute and take a little bit less stress off of the knee. The way that you can tell if your knees are coming forward, if you don't have a mirror, is to look at your foot. If your foot disappears during the movement, you know that your knees are coming too far forward. So you want to make sure that you can see your foot throughout the whole movement. If you notice, from the bottom of my skull all the way down to my low back, my neutral spine is staying exactly the same. When I come up from my squat, I'm not locking my knees. I'm not coming up and locking my knees. And I'm also not swinging my hips forward. You want to make sure that you're always standing into a straight upright position with just a soft knee, maybe the knee even just slightly bent, because again, that will help to keep your neutral spine, and it will also help to keep a little bit more tension on the muscle, making them work a little bit harder. From a forward view, you want to make sure when you're coming up that your knees are not coming in with the movement. You want to make sure the knees are following a nice, kind of a little bit of an angle out, and it's following just the natural position of where your toes are. So again, you never want those knees coming in as you do the squat, but the knees stay in a nice outward, kind of a outward movement as they go into your squat. And if your knees are having a tendency to come in, it's because you're not engaging those inner thighs, and you want to make sure that you're consciously engaging them. You're consciously engaging your adductor muscles in order to make sure that the knees are staying in the appropriate alignment. Okay, so let me do just a few repetitions straight through. So again, my shoulders are back, my abs are in tight. I'm leading with my glute. My upper body is leaning forward just slightly. I'm still maintaining my neutral, okay? I'm not letting my body come forward like this. I'm keeping my neutral spine throughout the whole movement. As I come up, I'm pushing through the heel of the foot. And also as I come up, I'm breathing out and in. Out and in. My shoulders are staying nice and relaxed. And that's part of my neutral spine. When you're first learning how to perform the squat, don't worry about range of motion in the beginning. If going down too deep, even if you're keeping proper form, if going down too deep is putting a little bit too much stress or pain on your knees, your hips, your low back, don't worry about range of motion in the beginning. You can do a very limited range of motion, and that's fine. You don't have to go down all the way, deep in the very beginning. Because again, the most important thing is your ability to maintain neutral spine, keep your knees in the appropriate alignment, and making sure that the movement is being led with your hips, so that again, your quadriceps, your hamstring, and your glutes are taking on the stress and not your knees, because whatever moves away from your body is going to take on more stress and gravity. An analogy I like to use with my clients is when you go to the grocery store, you don't carry your groceries like this, you carry them in here, because in closer to your body, it's not taking on any stress from gravity. So when we're doing squat, if the knees are moving away from the body, they're taking on stress from gravity, and the knees are a joint. We don't want the knees taking on that type of stress. We want the muscles to take on that type of stress when we're doing a squat. One last thing. When you're doing squat form, never, never, never put a plate underneath your foot to elevate your heel. Never. It is a horrible way to do a squat, and there's so many things wrong with it. The first thing it does, it immediately shifts your body forward, which is going to put a lot more stress on your knee, and also it's going to get you into more of an anterior pelvic tilt, arching that lower back in a position that's inappropriate and that's way, way too accentuated. So never, never, never plates under the heels when you do squats. Just do squats on just a plain flat surface, or maybe you have a Bosu or something. You can also do it on an unstable surface to challenge your balance, but never ever with the heels elevated. All right, the next movement is going to be just a basic lunge. There's several different variations to do lunges. I'm going to do the most basic form. And when you're learning how to do these movements, you always want to learn how to do them properly in their most basic form. So that way, when we go on to more advanced movements, you'll have a good, strong foundation on how to do it properly, being less likely to hurt yourself, and making the exercise more effective when it's done properly. So the two most common types of lunges are going to be a forward lunge and a reverse lunge. A reverse lunge is my preference, and I'm going to explain why. When you're doing a forward lunge, when you step forward, because the body is shifting forward, you're going to have a tendency to put more stress on the knee. Also, when people do forward lunges, and I see this all the time at the gym, they let their knee come forward, because again, it's just the body is shifting forward. It's just so common to let that knee come forward. Again, which I just described in the squats, is horrible to put that kind of stress on the knee. When you're doing a reverse lunge, the body will naturally is shifting backwards, so it will naturally put the stress on the heel of the foot, therefore getting the hamstring and the the hamstring and the glutes to engage more when you're doing an actual reverse lunge. Forward lunges are not bad. I'm not anti-forward lunge. If you are going to do forward lunge, number one, if you're someone that does have any type of knee injury or weakness, reverse lunge will definitely be a much better option for you. And if you are going to do forward lunge, you really have to think about what you're doing and make sure you have a tremendous amount of control. So when you step into your lunge, you make sure that you don't let that knee come forward when you do the lunge. So when you're performing your lunge, you want to make sure that at the end of the range of motion, both knees will be at a 90-degree angle. So you don't want this knee to be here, okay, or way back here. You want to make sure that it's a straight down movement, okay, as you do your lunge. Whether you're doing forward or reverse, your movement, again, will always be like a 90-degree position. And so in the beginning, when you're first learning how to do lunges, you might not be able to get the appropriate length right away in terms of your stride, in terms of your step. You might in the beginning kind of step a little bit short or a little bit long. So you just kind of get a feel for it in the beginning when you do the lunge. If you're coming back and you know, okay, my knee's all the way back here, let me kind of adjust so that it's coming straight down. It's more of a 90 degree, and this is also a nice and level 90 degree. And as you practice and become more aware of the angle of your knees, it'll eventually become second nature, and you'll automatically just go into the appropriate stride length when you're doing your actual lunge. But in the beginning, you're probably going to have to be a little more conscious and aware of where your knees are at. So, okay, let me do a few repetitions just to kind of demonstrate what a set might look like. So shoulders back, abs in tight in my neutral. So I'll step forward with my forward lunge. I'm stopping to make sure that my knee is not coming forward, and then I'm pushing back through the heel of the foot. And another rule with the lunge, when it comes to making sure your knee is aligned, the same rule with the squat, make sure that that knee is not, that foot is not disappearing. If the foot disappears, then your knee is coming too far forward. So make sure that that foot is not disappearing when you're doing your lunge movement, okay? And now I'm gonna do a few reverse lunges. So I'm gonna be stepping back. And again, this really is my lunge of preference. Even if you don't have knee problems, I just personally like the reverse lunge a lot better. So that's just my personal preference, but both lunges are fine as long as they're done properly. So both my knees are coming straight down. As I lift, I'm pushing through the heel of my foot, okay? You can also do just the stationary lunge as well, that's fine. If you're just learning how to do lunges, if the balance is very challenging for you in the beginning, certainly hold on to something until you get comfortable with the form and you're able to perform it properly. And then as you get better, you can let go and challenge your balance and then even move on to more advanced like alternating or forward walking lunges. And with the forward walking lunge, again, I'm making sure that my knee is not, leading the movement. And one last tip when it comes to lunges as well, you want to make sure that when you do your lunge, your knee is not banging on the ground, okay? Because there's not a lot of tissue that covers our knee joint, that covers our patella. So if you're banging your knee on the ground when you do the lunges, you're going to start to cause some nerve damage. You're going to do some damage, to the knee. So again, you never want to let your knee bang on the ground in between repetitions. It should always just be almost to the ground or just slightly hovering. And for those of you that are just beginning and have some limitations, you could just do a limited range of motion. That's fine too. So I would prefer you do limited range of motion and not hurt yourself and learn how to do it with the proper form in limited range of motion. So as you get stronger and better, then you can go deeper and you learn how to do the form properly in the limited range of motion first. Okay, so those are basic lunges. And again, we'll be doing different variations of that, but I want you guys to learn how to do it properly in the most basic form. All right, the last one is going to be just a step up. This exercise is an exercise I do a lot of times with clients, maybe in the beginning of a workout, just to kind of get them to warm up, get their heart rate elevated, get their muscles warmed up, get the blood circulating. And it's just a fun exercise that I like to do with my clients. Again, just to get them started before the workout. And some of you that I might take in Group X classes, you might be familiar with this movement. It's a very popular one they do in step classes. But again, it can be incorporated into a circuit training workout as well. Okay, so again, shoulders back in my neutral, abs pulled in nice and tight. When you do your step up, you want to make sure that you have enough surface area so that your whole foot can come up onto the step. And then you'll push through the heel of the foot as you do your step up. Okay, and again, pushing through the heel of the foot is going to help to get the hamstrings and the glutes to engage, taking some stress off of the knee. And some of you might be wondering, Charlene, why are you so concerned about the hamstrings and the glutes? What about the quadricep muscle? For most of us, the quadricep muscle will have a tendency to overpower the hamstring. It's the nature of the muscle and just how the muscle is. The quadricep is a large muscle. It goes all the way from it attaches to your tibia by your patella, but it goes all the way to your groin area. It's called the inguinal crease, and this is the length of your quadricep. It is a very large muscle. And it's also four muscles, that's the name quadricep. So it's not rocket science how they came up with a lot of these names, but and the hamstring only goes from here to here. So it is definitely not as long of a muscle as the quadricep is, and so the quadricep can have a tendency to overpower the hamstring muscle. And so that's why a lot of people just don't know how to consciously engage their glute muscles, and their hamstrings also have a tendency to be weaker than their quadricep. So that's why I like I like to put a lot of more emphasis on engaging the glutes and the hamstring with a lot of these exercises. Trust me, the quadricep is still involved. It's still getting a workout, but we just don't want the quadricep to be overpowering. If we push through the heel of the foot, we can get the glute to engage more. And as we teach the glute to engage, it'll strengthen the glute, which is going to help take some stress off of the low back as well. Because when we have weak glutes, oftentimes what will happen is this. If we strengthen those glutes, what will happen is this. And it gets us into a neutral. So that's just a really quick tip on why I always stress pressure through the heel of the foot with a lot of lower body exercises. Okay, so let me go ahead and just do a few repetitions with the step up. Again, my foot is going all the way up onto the step as I'm doing my movement, okay? And I'm just doing one variation. There's so many different variations that you can do where you're alternating one side at a time, or you're just staying on one foot and you're doing just a full set of maybe 10 to 15 repetitions with the one foot. Either way, again, there's so many different ways to do it. As long as, again, you're pushing through the heel of the foot and the foot is making full contact on the step. Some of you may not have a step like this at home. I would suspect most of you probably don't. So you can use just a basic step stool. If you have stairs, you can use stairs. The only thing, again, you just want the stair to make sure that it's long enough that you can actually get your whole foot onto the stair. If not, maybe a step stool would be a good alternative as well. I'm going to put a link in the description below on where you can purchase a step, and I'll put some different options for you, and I'll try to find some really good affordable ones, because they sell ones that are really little, that don't take up that much space, and that you can easily keep in your home, and that might be a good alternative. And it's also having a little step like this, it's just a nice addition to your home gym, because again, it's very versatile. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. So, okay, another variation of a step might be where people just bring their legs straight through and then they step down. Again, very common movement, you know, in a step class, okay? And now I'm going to show you different variations of squats, lunges, and steps of what I might do in a full body circuit training workout. So I might do, say I'm going to do lunges on the step where I'm more elevated. And that way I can get a little bit deeper range. It also helps to really stretch out the hip flexor muscle too. This movement right here stretches out the hip flexor muscle, which a lot of us have tight hip flexors just because if we're seated for hours at a time at work, at a desk, or what have you, your hip flexors will have a tendency to get really tight, which again can cause a lot of misalignments in your low back, what have you. So again, so a variation would be just to do lunges, or you can just alternate. Again, my knee, all the same rules will apply. This knee's coming straight down, this knee staying nice and level, pushing through the heel of the foot, okay? So this might be a variation. Another variation I might do might be just a lateral step with a squat, where I'm doing my basic squat. Again, I'm popping my butt back, upper body's, again, same rules as your standard, your basic squat form. We're just adding a step and just, you know, adding a variation to it. So I might do something like this, and this also helps to engage the inner thigh, okay? And if I'm gonna do something like this, you wanna make sure that you're not letting your body kind of shift to the side, but that everything just stays, again, in the appropriate position, and you're maintaining the right control. But again, that's just a variation of how you can combine these movements. So, all right, so I want you to practice these movements, your squats, your basic lunge, and just the basic step up. So again, that's just gonna be your squat form. That's gonna be your just reverse lunge, okay? Or you can also do your forward lunge, okay? Just making sure all your knees, everything is staying in the appropriate alignment, okay? And then you'll have your basic step up to practice. Stepping up, hands stepping down. If you're going to incorporate this into your workout throughout the week, definitely give yourself 48 hours of rest in between your workouts, because these are a little bit more intense, and so you're going to be doing a little bit more muscle damage, which is normal. It's appropriate so the muscle can grow. So certainly, you know, give yourself a day of rest in between if you're going to incorporate this into your workout. Real quick, one last thing. I wanted to introduce the Bosu to you. And this is another piece of equipment that would be a really great investment into your home gym. This is not the brand name Bosu. It is a knockoff version of it. The actual Bosu itself will run you about $150. So if you want to invest in the brand name Bosu, then absolutely go for it. Again, it's, you know, it's a great tool to have. But I got a knockoff version again, just simply because it's more affordable. I've had it for a while and it's worked great. I haven't had any issues with it. So that might be, I think this one right here was like $40 as opposed to, again, $150 if you get the name brand Bosu. There are a couple differences with it, but it's really not that much different than an original Bosu, to be honest with you. So again, I haven't had any issues with it myself. So I'll put a link in the description below for the brand name Bosu as well as the knockoff Bosu that's a little more affordable, because if you're anything like me, affordable is very, very important, especially at this point in my life. So I'll put a link for that in the description below. And it could be something that you can invest in the future, because again, all these little tools are going to be really great additions to having a little home gym that you can use to do a variety of so many different exercises. So, okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate your time and attention. If you have any questions about what I did today, please comment below. If I didn't answer any questions or something wasn't clear, definitely let me know, and I'll definitely make sure that I answer it so that you understand very well what I did today and why I did it, you know, the way that I did, what have you. And I will be doing my my next full body workout. It's going to be more advanced than the last one. Again, no instruction in the beginning. I'm just going to get right into the workout, and that's going to be coming up later this week. And I'm going to be doing another instructional video later this week on upper body exercises that I'm going to be incorporating into that workout. So again, you can practice that on your own at your leisure and be ready to perform them properly when we do the full body workout. And I'm also going to be doing my next nutritional video talking about the different nutritional programs that are out there right now, the most popular ones or the most common ones like veganism, vegetarianism, paleo diet, ketogenic diet, just the ones that are, again, that are the most common ones and what they are, and which one would be the most appropriate for you based on your lifestyle and just, you know, whatever different factors are involved. So we'll be talking about that so you can get a really good idea of what each nutrition plan is. They all have great benefits to them, and so I'm not, you know, pro or anti really any of them, but I just want to give you guys a good explanation of what each of them are, and then you can see which one is going to fit best into your lifestyle. All right, guys, thanks so much for your attention. Remember, take care of yourself. Protect yourself physically and emotionally, and don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.